Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. How are you guys doing today?
You're doing good. How are you, sir?
Good, great. Good to see you all. Hey, Sanjana, how are you doing? Great, good. Okay, so did you guys do that CSS Diner rest of it?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Okay, very good. So let me complete it with you since, I do some, exercise along the way also. In this way, it is more clear to you where do we use it. So we are very close to complete it. And once we complete it, then we'll go and do something else, right? So this is the agenda that we are going to finish CSS Diner first, and then we are going to do um, display, right? Let's see. Any question? Any question, guys?
No, sir.
No.
And one quick humble request that please use your headphones, otherwise we'll be getting feedback from you, right? So it is like sound rebounding back from your terminal back to the group, meeting. I'm also using one, right? You can see it mine there. Okay. Somebody is not using the earphone. Okay, let me check if somebody is waiting. Okay, everybody is in. Okay, great. Okay, so let's start. So we were here in CSS Diner, and we have completed up to 24 rounds, right? Where we were selecting what we want. What do we want to select over here? Select the last apple, right? So basically it would be what? It would be colon, oh, white has gone white. Just a minute. Okay, it's back. So we can say coming back, colon. Oh no, this is something else. Okay, now. So it is, what should we say? Okay, you suggest, please. Anybody? Sanjana, you suggest us. What should we say here? Anybody else?
Apple,
Orange
last of type.
and apple last of.
Yeah, definitely this can be done, right? So orange, colon, last of type, comma, apple, colon, last of type, right? So this is
Yes,
gone.
sir.
Okay, now, so basically this is a practice for empty. So bento colon empty, right? BNTO, bento colon dy, right? And what is this? Select the big apple, right? So basically the deal is that this is a practice for not, right? So for example, this particular apple is decorated with class small, right? So we don't want to select this one but these two. So we can say, so if we want to select this small one, so will say apple dot small, right? But if we don't want to do this thing, we will say apple colon, and here we will put not, right? So basically we want to say that apple which is not small, right? So we press enter, it's going by enter, right? So we got it. And now, okay, so here, we want to select some items with an attribute. Let me explain it with the help of an example. Please see, if somebody is not having their headphones on or earphone on, please turn them on or put them on, because otherwise we are getting feedback in the conversation, which is not good for everybody. Okay, so coming back, thank you very much. So for example, here select the item, okay, let me show you that what we mean by that, right? Say for example, I come over here and we say this is not you guys, this is you guys, and here's CSS selectors, right? This is the CSS selectors, right? And within the CSS selectors, let me have a new file, and let me name it attribute selector. Oh, so where is that file? This is the one, right? So let me rename it. Rename dot html, and this is, say for example, page 1. So let me get its name. Is it attribute selector actually? Attribute selector, yes. Okay, so attribute selectors. Right? And say for example, I put a form over here, right? And this form is having an input field, right? Input forms are used to get data from the website and most probably send it to the server, right? And we would be doing it extensively. And say there is no value, it has placeholder that say first name, right? And then say for example, it has another input and say it is no value, placeholder is, placeholder, everybody? If somebody does not know, please let me know. Email. Let me make it full name. So this type is email, and another input, password, and this order is password. Let me have a button over here, right? And send button, right? This is a form. Okay, now the deal is that this is a form. Let me copy it. Let me put a horizontal rule over here, paste it over here, and let me put another horizontal rule over here and paste it over here. Let me do one more thing. Let me remove this from here, or let me not remove it from here, maybe from here. And let me remove only this part from here. Or maybe I would want to method is equal to get over here, right? So have you seen this thing? That definitely we are going to discuss in this course that what are we going to do with this method and action. Definitely this is something we are going to do very extensively, but for the time being, these are just attribute of the form, right? So this is a form, these are its inputs, right? And this is another form, and these are its inputs, right? And a button, of course, and this is another form, and it has its own inputs and the button also, right? And we just currently want to format them, right? So let's see how can we format them. So this is attribute selector. And let's open this page in the browser. So this is located at localhost, right? This is located at localhost, and then web framing, right? And we were looking at CSS basics, right, guys? CSS basics, and this is attribute selector. Right, so we have got a form over here. It has full name, email, password, right? Send button. So these are all three different forms, right? Say for example, we want to select the form with the attribute method in it, right? So for example, we want to select form. Which form we will be selecting? We would be selecting the first one and the last one, right? So we come over here, we say style, right? And then we say we want to select form. That's first of all, we select all of them, and we say border maybe 3 pixel so that is visible to you guys, solid red, right? So you will see that there would be a border all around these three forms. Come back here, reload. Taking some time to reload. Let it reload.
Solid spelling is wrong.
You spelled it
Solid
with two
spelling
L's, so
in
the solid.
.html file.
Okay.
Spell it with two L's.
All right, sorry. So, but it should not be an issue in reloading the form. Let's reload it, okay. So it's, I don't know why it's taking this localhost is taking so long, but I can see this thing that I have so many tasks now. Okay, so basically this form is like, all the form has this red, border around it, okay. Now we want to select only that form with the attribute method in it, right? So we will say colon, I think colon, or without colon, let's see. So method, right? So just method. Okay, save it and reload it. Okay, it should be with colon. So come back here, colon. So form colon method, and we reload it. Okay, so basically it has removed this from all of them because this colon is not there. So let us check the syntax for a moment. That
Method in
huh?
single quotation. Method in single quotation.
Method is what? Method is in single quotation, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, let's check this thing. Wait a minute. You're right, CSS is very sensitive to these things. So we must check this thing that what is exactly we are putting over there. So we have this attribute and this href, or it should not be in quotations at all actually. And it should not have colon either, right? So basically it has no quotations and no colon, right? So let's check it once more that what is the issue. So form, and we want to give this. So you said that there should be quotation, single quotation.
Yeah.
Let's check it, right? Let's check it.
So in method, you
Okay, so we reload it.
so you put single quote in wrong place.
Okay,
You didn't
where do you want me to put?
after
Oh, right.
the bracket.
Is ending at a wrong place. You're right. So save it and let's run it, right? So let's run it. So it is not taking it. So I think there is no quotations, but let's check it in the CSS Diner that, you know, how does it work. So for example, if you want to select all three of them and all three of them has this property that they have this attribute for, right? So basically it would be like asterisk colon for, right? So all of them are having for in them, right? So let's enter. Okay, so it is not picking it up. Okay, colon is not taking up colon, right? So it is saying that something is wrong. If we remove this colon from here, enter, right? So there is no colon, no quotations, right? So coming back over there, so there is no colon, no quotations, right? So method method is good. And it is for form, right? And it should take it now. So
Take like type is equal to method.
again,
Type is equal to double
no,
quotation.
type is equal to method, nothing like that, nothing like that, my dear, nothing like that. So we come back here and see that why is it not running. So come back over here, reload it. Is reloading is okay, now it's working, right? So basically it was taking time out and that was the reason that it was not showing up, right? So basically no colon, no type, nothing, just method, right? So, but say for example, we want to say this thing that, hey, we want to have that attribute, right? So we want to have that attribute. So which is another example, say for example, that we want to select a plate which is having the attribute for, right? So for example, we can say over here, what can we say? Plate within bracket, square bracket, for, right? Is it for? So plate has an attribute for, right? So plate within square bracket for, right? And enter. Right? So it is taking some time. Somehow it is slow. Internet is slow and it is taking so much time of the big time slice for the processing. Okay. Now say for example, we come over here and we say that we want to select that form where method is post. right? So we want to select that form where method is post, right? And let me put something more over here. Let me copy this thing over here, copy, paste it over here. And let me put blue over here. So here we are saying that we want to decorate that form where method is post with red color border. And we want to decorate a form with attribute method with a blue color border, right? Save it. And let's go back over there and see what do we get. Reloading. So both of them have gone the blue color, right? Both of them have gone the blue color. Why both of them have got the blue color? Because blue color is coming after that, right? But if we put this thing on top of it, save it, and go back, and something, there are some browser behaviors also involved. Now you can see this thing that the one with the method post is getting the red color border, whereas the one with the just post, no just method no post, so it is getting the blue color border, right? So basically we can specify also that uh, not only this thing that it should contain an attribute, for example method, but also this thing that what is the method, right? So basically we can be much more specific about it. Any question, guys? Any question?
No, sir.
Okay, so coming back. Okay, so here let's go to CSS Diner. So here, for example, we want to say this thing that we want to select this one. So it is a bento with for Vitali, right? So we want to say this thing that we want to select the bento. And this bento is having an attribute of for, and the value of for is Vitali, right? So we want to select this bento, right? So enter. What is wrong? Vitali, Vitally,
Miss
Vitally.
double quotation. Start.
Starting double quotations are missing. You are right. So thank you very much. Your observation is good. I'm happy. Okay, so this quotation I have, definitely pressed it, and it's taking some time to show up. I'm sorry for this delay, but sometimes your systems are slow, especially with slow internet. Internet is taking too much of processing time. Okay. Do you think that we should refresh it? Okay, it has got it now. Okay, so let's press enter. And I have pressed the enter sign. It's taking some time. I don't know why this enter sign is taking so long. Probably I need to reboot my computer maybe after this class. Okay. So I think I will refresh the screen also. Do you agree? Okay, let's refresh it. Okay, it is refreshed. And it has gone to some 32 suddenly. So let's rewind it back to which number we were at. We were at Vitali, right? So what the deal is that it is not even allowing me to. So do you think that, let me cross out it. And let me go back to CSS Diner. Let me change the browser. So maybe my Firefox was a little bit overwhelmed. So I think let me close Firefox. So I was on 27 probably. 28, right? So this is also done 29, right? So basically it was what? It was Panto and then bracket. What is this thing? It is bento for, right? Bento bracket for is equal to quotes Vitali, quote close, bracket close, enter, right? So this was the case. Okay. So here, if something is starting with something, right? For example, we want to have an item with an attribute for, but that for is starting with S, right? So we can say this thing, anything, maybe use asterisk, and then it has an attribute for, and that for is equal to starting with capital S, right? Quote close, bracket close.
Sir,
But wait a
SA
minute.
no?
So it is starting with, so since it is starting with, we need to put a hat over here, right? So this hat will tell that, we are not looking for exact S. So for example, if we just put equally over here, it would be wrong, right? So you can see it is wrong, right? Whereas if I put, a hat over here, means that I want to have a for attribute which is starting with equal sign with S. So it would select, it would work.
We can also write without star, like without all.
We can also write what?
Without all signs. Just in the bracket for
Right.
head is to SA.
Hat equal to S, right?
SA.
So
We
hat.
don't mention, we don't have to mention star in the
Oh, okay,
starting.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. We can write that way also, right? So we can use, just wide over there. Yes, you're right. And then, for example, here, now we want to check that something is ending with something, right? So, for example, these two are ending with TO, right? These two are ending with TO, and this is ending with TA, right? So basically, if we want to mention that it should be ending, so bracket, we can say for, and for ending thing, we will have dollar and equal what?
TO.
Maybe we can simply say O. Did I put single quote? Right. Okay. Right. So we can do without asterisk or something like that. Similarly, we can have containment, right? For example, some value is being contained over there. So for containment, we have this tilde probably. What is for containment? Is it tilde? Attribute is equal to value, right? So what sign is this over
Star.
here?
Star sign for
What sign?
star.
Star sign, yes.
Asterisk.
So include is star sign, right? So it was so small that it was difficult for me to read. Thank you very much. So for example, this is containing OBB. This is also containing OBB, right? So basically we will say for star equal OBB, right? And that's it. So basically, we have seen all the basic selectors. If you know your selectors, I'm pretty sure that your journey in CSS and JavaScript both would be very successful and comfortable. Any questions so far? Okay, so having done this thing, let us close our CSS diner and let us go and start. Let's close this Firefox. It's not even been closing. And let's go and discuss some displays, right? So let me come over here and let me create a new folder. And let me name it CSS layouts, right? CSS layouts. And within this folder, let me create a file, layouts.html. Okay, and let me populate this file. So HTML h1 layouts. Let me open this file for you. Okay, this is not responding. Let me use this. So it is situated at localhost. And what is your URL? Web programming summer of 2020. Right, and here we have CSS layouts and layouts.html, right? Okay, let's do a few things. We have an H1. Let's have an H2. I am H2. Let's have a paragraph. I am a paragraph. Let me have copy pasted it. Okay, save it. Okay, let me put an image also over here, or maybe let me put a form. So this is a form. It has input field. Maybe put a placeholder. Name. Maybe a button. Press. Okay. So let's see this page now. I am continuously going to, okay. So let's reload. So we have this H1, which is saying layouts, and this is I am H2, this is a paragraph, and this is a form. Let us give all of them some color, right? So we come over here and let's connect a CSS file with it. So here, new file, and let me name it layouts.css. Let me connect this file over here. So I come over here, I say link, and name is layouts.css. Save it, and let's give H1 a background color. Maybe background is sky blue. Right? Let's test it that it's working. Let me close this. Let me reload it. So you can see this thing that this layout, H1 has taken a background of sky blue color. Everybody's with me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
question is that here you can see this thing that layout is only a word which is, like, a centimeter or 2 centimeter long. But the background sky blue color has taken the entire line. Why is it so?
Because user agent style is full block.
Yes, so the deal here is that this particular element, which is H2, has a display type of block, right? Has a display type of block. So that is the reason that once an element is having a display type of block, its width is always the entire width of its container. Right? Its width is what? Its width is always the entire width of its container. Right? Always remember this thing. Right? So since the container of H2 is, this container of this H1 is entire body, right? And body is spanning all over the viewport. So that is the reason that this H1 is extending throughout the width of this particular screen. Guys, getting me?
Yes,
Hello,
sir.
everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Let me show you one more thing. Say, for example, look, here we have this button press, right? Let me give this button some style. So for example, I say button, and I say background, maybe yellow. Save it and reload it. Not this one, this one. Reload it. You can see that button, only the button part, which is the content, has taken, that yellow color. So why is it so? Because this button is of another type, which is known as inline. So always remember that in case of block type of elements, Sanket, the feedback is probably coming from you.
Oh.
So I was saying that if we have an element which is block time, so it takes the entire width of its container. Whereas an element which is of type inline, it takes the width of its contents. Its width is the same as the width of its contents. Right? Are you getting me, guys?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
let me show you one more thing. Let me come over here and let me say this thing. Let me have this H1 over here, copy, and let me put a division here. So this is a division. So class is reduced width, and this is h1. So it says I am an h1 in a Debian, right? So this is an h1 within a Debian. Let me just decorate this Debian, right? So reduced width, right? So I come over here, Control C, go to layouts. Maybe over here I say dot name of the class, and here I say that, hey, your width is 50% of the container, right? Debian by itself is block type, right? Let me comment it, and let me give this Debian a background color also. So background is, say, blue, and let me comment this also, so that this background color blue is visible, right? So, or maybe some other color. What color? Maybe pink, right? So save it. Oh, I'm pressing this. So let's reload it. So you can see this thing that Debian pink color has taken the entire width. But if I go over here and I say that, hey, Debian, your width is 50%. Your width is what? Your width is 50%. So what's going to happen? Look, Debian is not taking the 50% of the width, right? Debian is taking the 50% of the width, right? And now if I come over here and this give h1 a background color, save it, reload. Now you can see this thing that this h1, which is sitting in the Debian, it is taking the width of the Debian, right? It is taking the width of the Debian. Are you getting me? So why is it of smaller width? Because it is taking the 100% width of the Debian, and Debian by itself is 50% of the container, 50% of the body, right? So that is the reason that h1 is taking half width. But since h1 is block type, so it is taking the entire width of its parent, unless we tell it to do something else. Say, for example, we come over here, we say, hey, that h1 which is sitting within a Debian, your width is 70% or maybe 75%, right? Save it, and let me give this reduced width some border. So I say, hey, you get a border. So, or it is pink already, no problem. Save it, and we come over here and we reload it, and now you can see this thing that this h1 is taking the 75% of the Debian, and this pink color is now visible because previously h1 was taking the entire Debian, so it was covering it. Now it is taking 75% of it. So that is the reason that that rest of the 25% is visible as pink color. Right, guys? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay,
sir.
great. Let's come over here. Let us decorate H2s also, right? So for example, we come over here, we say H2, your background is peach. Peach is apparently not a color. What other color? Okay, so this is a time that we should visit this thing also, that what could be different ways to give colors. For example, one way is to name them, right? So for example, if we can go over here and we can search, for example, CSS color names W3 school. So here we have various color names, right? So for example, if we want to give this particular color, its name is what is its name? What is its name? Let's see. So these are the names, color name. Yeah, they are supposed to be color names, but you know, they are like weird color names. So instead of color name, for example, this is cyan, right? So instead of cyan, we can use this color code also. So copy it from here, right? And paste it over here, semicolon. Now H2s are going to get this cyan color, right? So we come back over here, not over here, over here, and reload it. So now H2s are getting cyan color. And H2 is what kind of element now? Can you see? Is it block type or inline type?
Block type.
It is also block type, right?
Block type.
Now let me put an H2 in a division, right? So let me put H2 in a division. So I come back over here in the layout and I say that, hey division, oh H2, hey division, you contain another H2. So I say H2 and I am H2 sitting in a division. And division is of reduced size. So we come back over here, reload our page, and you can see this thing that this H2 is taking the entire width, right? This H2 is taking the entire width. Any question, guys?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Very good. So you're understanding these things? Okay, let me do one more thing. Say for example, I come over here and I want this button should be a little bigger. Let me show you one thing before I want to make it bigger. So I come over here in the button, right? And I just remove this press, save it, reload it. You can see that button has got nearly vanished, right? So basically it depends upon the browser. Some browser will still show some remnants of the button, but ideally they should not show anything at all, right? So as I was saying that inline basically elements take the width of their contents, right? They take the width of their contents, right? So that is the reason that it got vanished, right? So I bring it back, I put some contents back there, I say press, so it would be back. So reload it, right? You can see that it is back, right? Now, say for example, I want to give some width to this particular button. So say for example, I come over here in CSS, in button part, and I say, hey button, you take a width of 200 pixels. By the way, width can be taken, it can be given in so many different ways. One way you saw was the percentage of the container. The other way is pixels, which you are, seeing in front of you, right? I say, hey button, your width is how much? Your width is 200 pixels, right? So if I say this thing, let's see what happens. So you can see that nothing, oh, it has taken some width. This is kind of strange. So let me copy this and let me paste into, so this is the So this is the browser behavior actually. So let me come over here, paste it over here. So some browser take some elements as inline, other will take it as inline block, which is another type I'm going to show you later on, right? So I come over here. So the thing I want to demonstrate you is this. So if I say this thing, I come over here, I say, hey, your display type is inline, right? Save it and reload, save it and reload. Okay, so it is still taking some width property. Width property should not be taken by inline elements. This is typically this browser behavior that is still giving width to this particular element. It should not, some browser behaviors are relatively different than the standard behaviors. So close this window. That is the reason that I want to use Firefox, because Firefox mostly gives us the standard behavior. Let me open Task Manager. Let me end this task. Okay, let me open a fresh window of Firefox. Localhost. Okay, so it is still taking some width, though standard behavior. So if you go and study this thing, standard behavior must be that it should not take width, right? It should not take width as long as it is inline. So let's see this thing, inspect element. And if we go to CSS, let me select the element. So this is the element I want to pick, and let me check its CSS. So you can see this thing that it is taking the entire thing, right? So it is taking background color, displays inline, and still taking width, but this is non-standard behavior. It should not have taken this thing, but you must take in view this thing that sometimes browsers have their own behaviors. We must be take care of. Okay, anyways, so the deal is that if we want an inline, so let me just give, so this input field is also inline. So let me see that if it is also taking width. So for example, I come over here, I say input field, here your width is like 50% of the viewport width, right? Save it. And let's go back over here and see that this input field is taking this width. Yes, this is also taking this width, right? So basically it is taking the width 50% of the viewport width. Okay, having said this thing, let me put a picture over here. So let me go and bring some free Google free web page images. Okay, so let me see if we can find some good website for that. So no. Does somebody know about some free web page images? There's a website with the name. Anybody knows? Okay, let me go to images. Okay, for example, let me pick some image. Say, for example, we want to pick, say we want to pick this image, right? So let's copy image address, right? So copy image address, and we come back over here, and let us put some image over here. So maybe at the top, Naresh is back. So let me put an image over here. So for that, I have img tag, and here I will put the URL for the image, and here I will put some alternate text if image is not available. So random text or random image, right? Save it, and let's come back over here. Let's go to our tab, reload it, and this image is there. Right now this is a biggie diggy image, right? Big image, you know, coming over here. If we want, we can definitely save this image into our website, and we can get it from there. That we can also show you, but let us contain this image first of all. So let's come over here, and we say in the style sheet, we say that, hey, image, your width is 60% of your viewport width, right? Save it and go back, reload, right? So you can see this thing that now this image is contained. Normally we pick image whose pixels width, you can say that pixel count in the width is nearly as much as your window size, so that we don't ask for an excessively large image and thereby increase the web traffic, and definitely it you know, slows down our website, right? So but if you are not having any suitable image available, you can control its width by using this width property, right? So we have said that, hey, you get this width of, you know, whatever. Okay, let me put, so have you got it, that you know how can you put the images? Let me come over here and let me download this image, maybe save image as, right? Save image as. So we want to save it, and maybe we want to save this image into the folder where we are currently working. So for example, we can go over here in our WAMP64 folder, right? There we have this www folder. Here we have web programming 2020, right? And here CSS layouts folder. So let's save it over here. So once it is saved, so now we can ask for this image from our own folder. So instead of giving all this long URL, well, rather let me just comment it and let me put a new image tag over here, so that this one is also with you, image tag, and source is the name of the file only because it is sitting in the same folder. So copy this thing. So this is my source. So So alternate text could be workplace, right? And let's reload it, right? So this image is now showing from our own folder, right? So, but it is always a wise choice that if you have a reliable website, you can have your images, coming from there, because they might be using some kind of CDN network, and their content delivery is faster than yours, right? And it is always a good choice to use some third-party website for the delivery of video, especially, and of images also, because otherwise your site is not going to take any time to load. But it is, it's images and videos and audio contents. These are the contents which are definitely going to take. Any question, guys, up till now? Let me take a little bit of break over here and ask you that if you have any question.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, yeah, so just, since these are long lectures, so, I just want to give you a little bit of breathing space to understand the things. And if you think that there is some question, you must ask, right? You must ask it, right? Don't let anything go, right? It is very difficult to teach in a monologue of situation, right? You must ask questions where there is one. Okay, so having said this thing, let me give you a little bit more practice about these layouts, right? So for example, I come over here, and I make an H1 or maybe a paragraph, right? So let me bring this paragraph up on the top. Because I want to focus this paragraph right now. So I am a paragraph, it is saying I am a paragraph, right? So let me give this paragraph some background, right? So let me come over here, and in CSS, I say you paragraph, you take a background. So paragraph, so background, and we can use background color, right? Everything we will discuss it. So background, and you take some background, and we had colors over here somewhere. So let us see what colors were there. Not this one, CSS colors, right? So as I said earlier that we can give colors like this. So how does it work? So hash sign means that color is in hexadecimal format. These two zeros are hex digits for red. These two FF are for hex digits of green. These two FF are hex digits for blue, right? So for example, if I want to make a subtle gray color, right? So I can come over here and I can say background hash cd cd, right? So all three are same, right? CD is typical, I can say that I'm putting red, blue, and green are red, green, and blue all in the same proportion, right? So if I say so, come back over here, reload my page, you will see that paragraph is going to get a typical gray shade, right? If I want to make this gray shade little bit, or you can say totally, say for example, I want to make this gray shade a mixture of red and blue, right? I can put 0 zeros over here. So there is no green component, so only, red and blue. Now you can see this thing that it would be having a little bit different color, right? So it is now magenta, right? It is now because it's a mixture of red and blue, right? If I put back green in there, it would be gray, right? Can you compute this thing? What is CD in decimal? Yes? Anybody? CD in decimal?
205.
205 you said?
Yeah.
205, right? So I can give the same color as this, for example, red, green, blue, RGB, right? And I can say 205, comma, 205, comma, 205. So this is another way to give the same color, right? Save it and run it to see the same color, right? Just to check this thing that it is actually working, we can change this color. Say for example, we want to color red and green. So maybe they reduce this component, maybe give it 50, right? So this will make a little bit different color. So come back over here, reload. You can see this is a yellowish kind of color it has made, right? Are you getting me, guys? Then the third way, another way is that instead of giving it like this, I can say background RGB alpha, right? Red, green, blue, and alpha. Alpha is the transparency, right? That you want this color to be solid or transparent, right? So alpha goes from 0 to 1. 0 means that it is fully transparent, 1 means that it is fully opaque, right? So basically by default it is 1, right? So we can give it like this, for example, 100, 100, 100, 0.5, right? So something like that. It would be dark gray color but transparent, so it would not look that dark. So we come over here, we load the page, so it is like gray with transparency, right? Got it, guys? So anyways, coming back to layouts, right? I was trying to teach you layout, so I come back over here. So let me have this paragraph and let me have another paragraph after that. So copy this, Control C, Control V, save it, right? Save it. And there are two paragraphs, and now these two paragraphs would be sitting on top of each other, right? Reload it. So these two paragraphs are sitting on top of each other, right? Can you see this thing? Right? And now let us go over here and we say that, hey, you paragraph, you take 50% of the space, right? So we come over here, we say, hey, you paragraph, your width is 50%, right? Or maybe 40%. Let's reduce it further. So your width is 40%. Save it, go back, reload over here, right? So these paragraphs are now taking 40% of the space. But still, since they are block type of elements, so the entire paragraph is taking the entire width, right? It is not letting anything to come and sit with it, right? So it is not letting anything to come and sit with it, right? But if we want them to sit side by side, one solution, there could be so many other solutions, and we would be discussing quite a few of them. So I can come over here and I can say, hey, you paragraph, your display type is inline block, right? Your display type is inline block. Instead of block, you are inline block, right? So now if I declare it inline block, then you can see this thing. Now they are sitting, they are taking 40% space, and they are sitting next to each other. Got it, guys? Any question? Let me go ahead and do one more thing and increase this width from 40% to 50%. Right now, I'm saying that 50%, 50% makes 100%. So they should be sitting, in one line. Save it, and let's see what happens. They have not decided to sit in the same line. Why?
it must be exceeding 100%.
Why it is exceeding 100%? 50% plus 50% should be 100%.
Window size or something.
Hmm?
I think there is padding as well.
Let us see this thing. But okay, let's do one thing. That let's explicitly, though you mean to say margin, but let's say we say padding 0, right? And say I have not taught padding and margin. This is the next thing I want to teach, right? But just to answer your question, we say margin 0, right? You are going to have no margin, no padding, right? So they will clamp from, you know, vertically, but they will not sit next to each other. They are still sitting on top of each other. Why? So let's remove these two things, right? Because they are not affecting it. I have not taught it them yet. I am going to teach them next, you know. So reload it, and you can see that they are sitting on top of each other. So what is the reason? Reason is very subtle.
Space between two blocks.
Say it again.
Space between blocks.
Space between the blocks. What space is that? We have not given any space over here.
Like
Right over here. Which space you're talking about?
a border, I guess.
Huh?
Border.
There is no border, my dear. So let me tell you this thing. What is this thing sitting over there, right? So, for example, let me inspect these elements, right? So I come over here and I right click and inspect element, right? And look, this is a paragraph, right? And this is the next paragraph. So these paragraphs are sitting next to each other. Means to say in HTML, and there is nothing in between them apparently, right? But they are decided not to sit next to each other. Let me show you a trick over here. Let me come over here. Let me just do this thing. Right? There was an enter sign here. I have removed it. Save it, right? And if I remove and save it and reload it, you can see they have decided to sit next to each other. So actually, when two elements are inline block type, the enter sign between them takes a little bit of space. That space is not even visible anywhere. But this is the reason that it is taking this, you know, it is behaving like this, right? So there are a few things we can do. One trick was this. I have just shown you that if you just remove this enter sign, it will work. Or sometimes people do this thing that they put enter sign over here. This is a bad solution again, right? Just sometimes, you know, you have to work around the problem, right? So this is a workaround, you can say. So instead of having enter sign over here, have an enter sign over here, right? So if you have enter sign over here, you'll see that it will also work, right? They are sitting next to each other, right? And there could be another good solution, and that good solution is that put them normally, make a division, put these paragraphs in that division, and here go to this, and here you have the class 0 font size, right? 0 font size. I have made this class 0 font size, right? And as I have made this class, so let me make it over here. So I say dot 0 font size, right? 0 font size. and here I say font size 0, right? And once I save it, what's going to happen is that this paragraph is going to go, right? Why? Because its font size is now 0, right? You can see this paragraph would be situated over here, but it is not visible because of this 0 font size, right? So we can come back to paragraph and we can say that, hey, you paragraph, your font size is 1M. Is it going to work? Hello? Is it going to work? It's not going to work because M is relative to the parent and parent font size is 0, right? So 1M would be still 0. So we need to use 1 rem, right? So if we use 1, right? So if we reload it, that is back sitting next to each other because that enter sign has taken the size of 0 now. Have you got it, guys? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, got it.
Right? So
Yes, sir.
basically, you know, this is something which is normally not documented anywhere, but this is something which troubles a lot while designing web pages.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes,
Uh,
please.
you can put HR also, the tag HR to create space between these
HR is
paragraph.
horizontal rule actually, right? So you can, if you want to put a line, but I actually wanted them to sit side by side, and instead of having 50% of space, they were not sitting side by side.
Okay, sir.
This was my problem, right? This was my problem. Okay, so having said this thing, let's color these two paragraphs a little bit differently so that, you know, they are visible from each other. So I come over here. Let me go over here and I say paragraph first of type, right? Now we know our selectors. So paragraph first of type, and we say background is yellow, right? So the paragraph who is first of type, your background is yellow, right? So one is yellow, the other one is gray, and you can see this thing that, you know, the text is like flushing with the boundary of the paragraph, right? Can you see this thing? The text is
Yes.
flushing with the boundary of the paragraph. So if you want to have some space over here, right? So there is something you need to give, and that something is known as padding, right? So we have to, who is around you, Kamilish? Are these my students, previous students? Okay, so I was saying that I need to have some padding. If I need to distance this text from the boundary, from its boundary of the container, I need to give some padding, right? So padding is like this, that say for example there is China, you want to put it in a box, right? So you need to give padding around China. So basically padding is the space between the contents and the boundary of the container, right? Are you getting me, guys? Hello, everybody. So let's give some padding, right? So let's give some padding. So for example, I can come over here and I can say, hey, you paragraph, you get a padding. So look, in CSS, it goes like this. Every property has a summary property, right? Or you can say abbreviated property. That is, for example, padding, right? So you can say padding, and you know, you can give padding, and you can give different padding on all four sides. But if you want to give explicit padding, you can say padding left, padding right, padding top, padding bottom separately, right? So I'm going to teach you this thing also, but for the time being, I say, for example, padding, and padding can be taken in pixels, for example. It can be given in percentages also, right? It can be given in other units also. I will teach you those. So for example, I say, hey, you get a padding of 5%. Right? So here you paragraph, you get a padding of 5%. Save it and come back over here, reload it, right? You can see this thing that when we set padding 5%, definitely, you know, there is a space between the contents and the boundary of the container, right? But this action that when we give the padding has changed the size of the entire container, right? So you can see that they have grown bigger, and since they have grown bigger, that is the reason that they have refused to sit next to each other, and they have decided to sit on top of each other, right? So what is the solution for this?
We can reduce width, which was set
We
to
can
50.
reduce the width, right? Of course, we can reduce the width. So we can come over here and we can say, okay, how much? So it is 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%. So total 20%. So once it is total 20%, so we need to give a width of not 50%, we need to give a width of 40%, right? So that it is like 80% and 20% is padding. So basically it would be 40%. Save it and reload the page, right? You can see that they have decided again to sit next to each other. Very good, right? Let's go give some border. So we say, hey, you paragraph, you have a border of 1 pixel solid red, right? 1 pixel solid red. Save it, and or maybe 3 pixels so that it is visible to you guys. Save it and reload the page. Once again, it has taken 3 pixels of border. Wonderful. But the deal here is that again they have decided not to sit next to each other. Why?
Again, it's exceeding 100%.
Yeah, again it's exceeding 100%, right? So there should be some solution to this problem, right? And the solution to the permanent solution to this problem is called box model fix. What do we call it? We call it
Box model fix.
box model fix, right? In summary, what is box model fix, right? Box model fix is that currently the width of the box does not include the padding and border, right? Currently the width of the box does not include padding and border. But box model fix means that we want padding and border to be the part of the width of the box, right? So basically this is an Irish guy whose name is Paul Irish, and he gives out this box model fixes, right? So I will attribute this thing to him, and I will search for box model, or maybe Paul Irish box model fix. So the first link would be his. Oh yeah, I messed up his name spelling. I'm sorry, Paul. Okay, I come over here. So this is this website, and here he gives box model, right? So I will say that copy this thing from there. Copy this thing, copy it, and paste it on top of your CSS. Paste it over here. Paste, right? So let's understand this thing. So we want to apply this property to the entire HTML. We are saying entire HTML, your box sizing is border box, right? If I delete this border box, as a matter of fact, so box sizing could have 2 properties. One is 2 effective properties, border box, and one is the content box, right? So by default, it is the content box, right? So content box means that the padding and border are not part of the box by itself, right? Or box width by itself, right? So whereas once we say this thing, hey, box sizing, border box, and then we say everybody over here, asterisk, asterisk before, asterisk after, that you inherit this box sizing from your parent, which is HTML, right? So what happens is that now padding and border are part of the box width, right? And once we say this thing, you will see that they will be tamed and they will sit next to each other. Now we don't have to reduce it even, right? We can go back over there in the paragraph where we said 40%, we can say that 50%, right? Save it and reload it, and they will behave properly sitting next to each other. Got it, guys? Any question? So I would like to take this opportunity to teach you one more thing, and that is margin. So one is padding and the other thing is margin, right? So padding is what? So look, okay, let me come over here in my notepad, and maybe add page. So say for example, this is your paragraph. Can you still see my screen? Hello, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So say this is my paragraph, right? So these are the contents, something written in English, right? So this is padding. So this is padding. Let me put padding like this. And say this is my border. Right? So padding exists between border and the contents. So this is the margin. Margin exists outside the border, right? So margin. So once we want to give space between elements, right? So we give margin, right? So we come back over here, we say you paragraph, you take a margin. Maybe 5% of margin, right? Now this is something which cannot be part of the box model. And if we want to give this margin, now we have to reduce the width, you know, if we want them to sit next to each other. So anyway, we come over here, reload it, right? So they have taken the margin, and that's the reason that they are sitting not next to each other. Go back over there, and here width, instead of width 50%, say width is 40%, and they should sit next to each other, right? So basically this is how margin actually works. Any questions so far?
So for margin, it takes 5% from all four sides.
Yeah, so basically very good question. Actually, this gives me this opportunity to teach you one more thing. So let me teach it with reference to padding, right? Because margin, it would not be that much visible. So for example, where is the padding? So this is padding, right? Say for example, I want to say 5%, 10%, 5%, 10%, 20%, 30%. Or maybe let's give them 5. So let me put this thing over here, 5%, and comment it so that it still remains with you, right? And here I say 5%, 10%, 20%, 30%, right? Save it and let's see what happens. reload, right? So they are very weird now. So let me reduce it a little bit so that you can at least see them, right? So maybe 5 pixel, 10 pixel, 20 pixel, 30 pixel. I think it would be good now. Okay, so let's reload it. So it was weird kind of 30% was very big, right? So look, 5 pixel on the top, right? Let me do one more thing and come over here. I say text align justify, right? Save it, come back, reload, right? So look, on the top it is 5 pixel, then on the right it is 10 pixel, right? Then on the bottom it is 20 pixel, then on the left it is 30 pixel, right? So it goes like this, tuck, 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 right? So all 4 are different. So we can give it like this, we can give it like this also. So we can say padding, right? Say for example, we can say 5 pixel, 20 pixel, 40 pixel, right? 5 pixel, 20. So we can say 4 different, we can put 4 different values, we can put 3 different values. So how do these 3 different values work? Just look at it. So we come back over here, reload it. So 5 pixel on the top, 20 pixel left and right, middle one, and then 40 pixel at the bottom, right? So if you are giving 3 parameters, it is top, left, right, and bottom, right? You can give 2 values also. So for example, you can say padding, right? You can say 10 pixel, 20 pixel. If you give 2 values, it means first one is going to take top and bottom, second one is going to take left and right, right? Save it, right? Reload. So first one is going to take top and bottom, the second one is going to take left and right. Can you see this thing? Right? So, and if you can give 1 value, so if you give 1 value, it is all around the same. You give 2 values, it is top, bottom, then left, right. You can give 3 values, it is top, left, right, and bottom. You can give 4 values, it is top, right, and then bottom, and then left, right? So same goes with margin also, right? Whose question was this originally?
So mine.
Sankit, have you
Yeah,
got your answer, please?
now in margin, it will take 5% from the second para, no?
5% from where, my dear?
Now on one side, it will take margin 5% from the very left end, and
So it will again start
5%
from top,
from.
top, right, bottom, left.
Okay.
Okay, so as we saw
But sir,
here,
we have 2 paras.
look, margin
Here
goes
we
like
have 2.
padding also, right? So as we have seen this thing, so let me show you. Let me give you the example of margin also, right? So for example, I come over here. Uh, let me put a division. So this is a division. Let me give it a class of container, right? Let me give a class of container, and let me put a paragraph over here, and let me have these contents copied, maybe this entire paragraph copied from here and place it over here, right? So this is a paragraph sitting in the container, right? So let me go over here, let me decorate container. I say dot container, right? And I say, hey, you container, your width is 60%, right? Your container, your width is 60%, and your height is 300 pixel, right? So this is a container. And now I want to decorate the paragraph sitting in the container. I say you paragraph, which is sitting in the container. Right now you know your selectors, so you know that how can I address you paragraph, you sitting in the container. So let me have, I am a paragraph sitting in a container, right? So that paragraph who is sitting in the container, your width is maybe 50%. Let's don't give it a width, right? So let's decorate it later on, right? So this is a container and paragraph, say its background, let's put its background. Background, your background is light gray. Right, so let's see what are we looking at currently. Right, so basically we have this I have a paragraph sitting in a container, right? So this is that paragraph and it is sitting in this container. And why is it getting yellow? Oh, yellow is coming from some other resource. So let's give it a class. Let's say class is equal to para in container. Okay, copy and save it, reload. Let's inspect it. So it should have been gray, but somehow it is taking yellow. So let's see where is it getting yellow. So point this, right, point it to this, and let's examine its CSS. Look, it is getting this since first of type, it is getting from first of type. Okay, so since it is first of type, so that is the reason that it is getting it from there, right? So you can see this thing that this background light gray is crossed out and this has got the priority, right? Actually, you know, this gives me this opportunity also to teach you this thing, that why some selectors take more priority than the other, right? So let me show you this thing. So CSS selector priority. Calculator. Now this is okay. Yeah. Okay. Look. Say for example, we have a CSS selector. Say we say hash my name, right? So its specificity is 100. If I say dot my name, its specificity is how much? 10. Can you see this thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so more is the specificity, more it would be, you know, it will take the priority, right? So basically, if you are targeting with ID, it will take more, it will take more specificity, or so it would be applied broadly, right? If, for example, I say dot my name, if specificity is 10, right? But if I say dot my name colon first dot my name colon okay, this page is slowing down your browser, so wait. So colon, it's not allowing me to write, so let me just copy this over here. Let me cross it out. Let me go to Chrome, Control V. So if I say dot my name, this page is heavy, so dot my name colon first of type, I want to write this thing, but this page is like taking forever. Anyways, so if I specify more, you can see that its specificity is bigger. It's like 20, right? So since its specificity is bigger, so even if it is not, it is up in the hierarchy, it's, it is still going to take the priority. Right, guys? Any question? So I will take up, Sanket, your question is due on me. I'm running out of time currently. So I will address this question in my tomorrow's class, right? So I'm sorry I could not find time to address your question today, but we are definitely going to study it, and we are going to, address your question, right? Any other question you guys have? Okay, right. So I will stop over here, and I will see you all tomorrow in the class. And if you want to have me for your office hours, I'm available right now. You can stay in the conversation. Otherwise, you can simply drop out. Thank you very much. You have a good day. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, are you also going to teach us other display properties?
Just a
Like,
minute, my dear. Let me stop. Just a minute.